There are seasons in life when God draws you away from the crowd, when familiar faces disappear, and the doors you once leaned upon quietly close. In those moments, you may feel abandoned, forgotten, or even punished. But hear this truth. God wants you to be alone, not to leave you in despair, but to awaken you to His presence within. Aloneness is not loneliness. Loneliness is emptiness. Aloneness is fullness. It is in the silence of your own heart that you discover the kingdom that was hidden all along. When you are stripped of outer distractions, you begin to recognize that the source of your life, your guidance, your wealth, and your joy is not out there, but already planted within you. God separates you so He can speak to you. The whispers of eternity are drowned out in the noise of human chatter. The crowd tells you who you are, what you can do, what you cannot do. But when you are alone, the only voice left is the divine one, the voice that declares, "You are my beloved. All that I am, you are." Aloneness is also the womb of creation. Every great vision, every holy dream, every transformation is first conceived in secrecy. Just as a seed must be buried in the darkness of soil before it can break forth into light, so must your desires be hidden in the silence of solitude before they manifest in your world. Do not resist when people fall away, when doors close, when the noise quiets. God is not subtracting, He is preparing. He removes what cannot go with you so that you may step into what has been prepared for you. In the silence, your imagination grows stronger. In the stillness, your faith becomes unshakable. In the hidden place, God forges you into the vessel of His glory. What is unseen is not forgotten. What is hidden is not denied. When God draws you into aloneness, it is only so that, in the right time, what has been cultivated in secret will shine openly for the world to see. So do not fear solitude. Welcome it. Embrace it. For in being alone, you are never truly alone. You are with God, and in that union lies the fullness of life. To be alone is not to be cast aside, nor is it to dwell in the shadows of emptiness. To be alone is to return to the sacred meeting place, the holy sanctuary within, where your spirit communes with the infinite. The world often confuses solitude with loneliness, but they are not the same. Loneliness comes from believing you are cut off from others, left without comfort or companionship. Aloneness, however, is the recognition that you are never without God, that the source of all being dwells within you and meets you in the silence of your own soul. When you are alone, the distractions of the world begin to fade. The voices of others, with their opinions, judgments, and expectations, grow quiet, and in their place arises the still, small voice that has been waiting to speak with you. That voice does not come with noise or drama. It comes with assurance, with peace, with a depth of knowing that transcends words. It is the infinite calling you back to your true self, to the eternal truth that you and God are not separate but one. Aloneness is union. It is the place where all masks fall away, where you no longer perform for the approval of others or hide behind the roles you play in society. In the sacred quiet, you stand as you truly are, a child of the infinite, a vessel of divine power, a spark of the eternal flame. In that recognition, fear dissolves, for you realize you are never abandoned, never forgotten. What the world calls solitude, heaven calls communion. The moments when God draws you away from the crowd are not punishments but blessings. They are invitations, invitations to drink deeply from the well within, to see beyond the fleeting shadows of the outer world, and to touch the eternal light that has always been yours. When you sit in silence, when you rest in stillness, you begin to feel that presence more vividly than ever before. The beating of your heart becomes His rhythm. The breath within your lungs becomes His breath. The thoughts that rise in your mind, purified by peace, become His whisper. Many resist being alone because they fear emptiness. But the truth is, when you enter aloneness with open hands and a willing heart, you discover not emptiness, but fullness. Fullness of spirit, fullness of love, fullness of being. You discover that God has been waiting there all along, ready to remind you that the life you seek, the peace you crave, the power you desire are already within you. To embrace aloneness is to embrace God. It is to recognize that what you thought was silence is actually a symphony. What you thought was emptiness is actually abundance. And what you thought was separation is in fact union. Alone with God, you lack nothing. Alone with God, you are complete. Alone with God, you are whole. Silence is not empty. It is filled with the language of God. In a world that is constantly shouting, demanding, and pulling at your attention, it becomes almost impossible to hear the subtle whisper that guides you to your true destiny. The outer world is noisy with opinions, fears, and distractions, and when you live only in that noise, your spirit grows weary and confused. Yet when you enter silence, when you willingly step away from the clamoring voices of the crowd, you discover that there has always been another voice speaking, a voice that is gentle, steady, and unshakable. It is the voice of God within you. The whisper of God is never loud. It does not compete with the chaos of the world. Instead, it waits patiently, like a soft wind that only those who are still can feel. When you allow yourself to be quiet, when you surrender the constant need to speak, to react, to prove, you begin to hear it clearly. It is not in the thunder, nor in the fire, nor in the earthquake of life's dramas. It is in the still, small voice. That voice is not separate from you. It arises from the very depths of your being, reminding you of who you are and what path you are meant to walk. In silence, your mind begins to settle. The constant noise of worry, fear, and doubt loses its power. You no longer feel the need to chase the validation of others or drown in the endless stream of distractions. In that stillness, you hear a guidance that is steady and true. Sometimes it comes as a sudden clarity, an inner knowing that cannot be explained but feels undeniable. Sometimes it comes as peace, a quiet assurance that even if you don't know how, everything is unfolding perfectly. Other times it comes as conviction, a stirring within you that gives you the courage to act in alignment with your highest self. Silence is the womb of revelation. Every great insight, every divine idea, every sacred vision is born in the quiet moments when the world is tuned out and the eternal is tuned in. The reason so many miss their destiny is not because God is silent, but because they are too busy to listen. The whisper is constant, but only those who enter solitude, who honor the sacredness of silence, can truly receive it. Do not fear silence, for it is not the absence of life, but the presence of God. In silence, you discover that you are not wandering without direction. You are being led. You are not lost. You are being guided. When you dare to be still, you find that the answers you seek are not in the voices of others, but in the voice within. And that voice, soft though it may be, carries more power than all the noise of the world combined. When you are surrounded by the world, you are constantly being shaped by its voices, its opinions, and its endless demands. The outer world tells you what is possible and what is impossible, what you should desire and what you must give up. But when you step into stillness, when you allow yourself to be alone without the interference of others, something miraculous happens. Your imagination awakens. In the quiet, where no one is there to dictate your path, your inner vision rises as your true companion, and creation begins. Imagination is the hidden power of God within you. It is not mere daydreaming or idle fantasy, it is the womb of reality itself. Every invention, every breakthrough, every transformation that has ever touched this world was first born in the secret chambers of imagination. And yet, so often this power is ignored because the noise of the outer world keeps the inner vision suppressed. It is only in solitude, in stillness, that imagination is given space to breathe, to speak, to reveal its glory. When no one is watching, when no one is influencing your thoughts, you discover the freedom to see yourself as more than you have been. You are not weighed down by the limitations others have placed upon you. In stillness, you dare to see yourself healed, prosperous, joyful, and free. You dare to walk into the unseen world of possibility and clothe yourself with it until it feels more real than the circumstances that surround you. This is the beginning of creation. For what you inwardly accept as true and what you persist in seeing within your imagination will inevitably take form in your outer life. Stillness is the soil where the seeds of imagination are planted. Just as a farmer does not throw seeds on rocky ground but carefully places them in fertile soil, so too must you withdraw from the noise of the world and enter the quiet, fertile soil of your soul. There your vision is safe. There it can take root without being trampled by doubt or stolen by fear. In that hidden place, you nurture your vision until it grows strong enough to break through into the light of day. The reason God draws you into stillness is not to isolate you, but to empower you. In the quiet, you rediscover the truth that your imagination is not something small or personal. It is divine. It is the creative power through which God expresses Himself in your life. And when you align your imagination with faith, when you dare to believe in the unseen as though it were already yours, the invisible becomes visible, and the impossible becomes possible. So welcome stillness, for it is not an empty pause, but a sacred beginning. In that silence, your imagination is awakened, your vision is sharpened, and your destiny is conceived. Alone with your inner vision, you hold the blueprint of your future, and in that hidden moment of stillness, creation truly begins. Every living thing begins in secrecy. The seed does not burst forth into light the moment it is planted. It rests hidden in the soil, unseen to the eyes of men. Yet in that hiddenness it gathers strength, draws nourishment, and prepares for its moment of unveiling. So it is with your desires. The deepest, truest desires of your heart are not meant to be exposed too soon. They are conceived in secrecy, nurtured in silence, and made strong in solitude, until the perfect time of their manifestation. When a divine idea is first born within you, it is delicate, like a newborn child. Exposing it too quickly to the noise of the world invites doubt, criticism, and fear. Others, unable to see what you see, may dismiss it, question it, or even mock it. If you hand over your vision to the judgment of others before it has matured within you, you weaken it. That is why God calls you into solitude when a great desire is planted in your heart. He hides it within you, protecting it from the winds of doubt until it grows strong enough to stand on its own. In your quiet moments, when no one else knows the dream you are carrying, you are communing with God Himself. Your secret desire is His whisper, His seed sown in the soil of your imagination. Each time you feel the reality of it, each time you revisit it in stillness, you water it with faith. Each time you hold it close without speaking, you are allowing its roots to grow deep. The world may see nothing, but within you, something mighty is unfolding. Consider the hidden seasons of life. The caterpillar is unseen while it transforms into a butterfly. The child is unseen while it grows in the mother's womb. The seed is unseen while it breaks open to produce new life. In each case, the hidden process is not weakness but power. What is invisible is not absent, it is preparing. So it is with your divine desires. Conceived in secrecy, they draw from the eternal source and grow into something far greater than you imagine. Do not be impatient with the hidden season. Do not despise the time when no one knows the greatness stirring within you. That secrecy is not a delay, it is protection. It is God ensuring that what has been planted in you will not be stolen by doubt or destroyed by haste. The most powerful creations are always born in silence and revealed in strength. By a saint. When the time comes, what was hidden will be revealed, and those who doubted will marvel. But until that moment, keep your desires close. Guard them like treasures. Nurture them in the secret place where only you and God dwell. For desires conceived in secrecy are not weakened by silence, they are fortified by it. And when they finally come forth, they bear fruit that cannot be denied. There are moments in life when people you once thought would walk with you forever suddenly drift away. Friends who felt like family grow distant, relationships collapse, and even those you depended upon may turn their backs. At first it feels like loss, as though something precious has been taken from you. But what feels like rejection is often divine redirection. God removes people from your path not to punish you, but to clear the way for your higher destiny. We often cling to relationships because they are familiar. We grow comfortable with certain voices, certain patterns, certain hands holding ours. Yet not everyone is meant to go where you are being led. Some people were placed in your life only for a season, to teach you a lesson or help you through a moment. But if you try to carry them into your future when their purpose in your story is complete, they become a weight that slows your journey. God in His wisdom sometimes allows them to leave so that you may move freely toward what He has prepared for you. It is not betrayal, it is arrangement. Think of it as the divine gardener pruning branches from a tree. The pruning looks harsh from the outside, but it is necessary for growth. Without it, the tree cannot flourish or bear fruit. So too with your life, when people are removed, it may hurt, but it is never without reason. God sees what you cannot see. He knows who cannot handle the weight of your blessing. He knows who would distort the vision planted in your heart. And in mercy, He removes them before they can hinder what He has destined for you. Aloneness then is not abandonment, it is alignment. It is the gentle hand of God redirecting you from what no longer serves your soul toward what will fulfill it. He clears the crowd so that you can hear his voice more clearly. He removes the noise so that you can walk boldly into your true path. Sometimes you would never step into your destiny if the old connections remained intact, because their presence would keep you tied to the past. So do not mourn excessively when people leave. Do not chase what God has released. Instead, trust the wisdom of the one who arranges all things for your good. Every closed door is a signpost pointing you to the right one. Every person who walks away makes room for someone divinely appointed to walk in. And every moment of solitude is an opportunity to lean more deeply into the presence that never leaves you. One day you will look back and see that what you thought was loss was really gain, that what felt like rejection was truly protection, and that every removal was preparation. God removes people not to leave you empty, but to redirect you to the fullness of your destiny. What feels like subtraction is in fact multiplication waiting to unfold. There is a sacred power in being hidden. In a world that glorifies exposure, noise, and constant display, it may feel uncomfortable to be unseen. You may wonder why your gifts are unnoticed, why your efforts remain in silence, why your breakthrough has not yet appeared. Yet what is hidden from the world is never denied by God. Hiddenness is not rejection, it is preparation. It is the divine covering placed over your life until the appointed time of unveiling. Consider the seed again. Before it rises into the sunlight, it is buried deep in darkness. To the casual observer, it looks as though nothing is happening. But beneath the soil, unseen by the eye, a great transformation is taking place. Roots are forming, strength is gathering, and life is pushing outward. If the seed were exposed too soon, it would wither. Only in its hiddenness does it gain the power to emerge. So it is with you. Your season of being hidden is the very season that ensures your destiny will stand firm when revealed. God hides you because He is building you. He is shaping your character, refining your faith, deepening your roots. He shields you from premature exposure, because to reveal you too early would be to destroy you. The world may not yet recognize what is inside you, but heaven does. The silence of obscurity is not a delay in God's plan, it is an essential part of it. Hiddenness protects what is sacred until it is strong enough to withstand the weight of visibility. Being hidden also teaches you dependence. When no one is applauding, you learn to rest in God's approval alone. When no one sees your effort, you discover the strength of doing it for Him and not for the recognition of men. In this way, hiddenness purifies your motives. You are not performing for the crowd, you are preparing for purpose. You are being trained in private for the assignment that will one day shine in public. Even the greatest figures in history knew seasons of hiddenness. The shepherd boy tending sheep before becoming king, the carpenter working in silence before being revealed as the teacher, the wilderness wanderings before the promised land. Each hidden season was not a waste, but a womb, carrying within it the power of transformation and the promise of fulfillment. So when you find yourself unseen, do not despair. Do not mistake silence for absence. God has not forgotten you. He has hidden you because He values you too deeply to expose you before your time. Trust the process, trust the timing, trust the unseen hand that is cultivating greatness within you. Philip, I'm you, for when the appointed hour comes, what was hidden will be revealed. And it will not be weak or uncertain, but strong, undeniable, and radiant, with a mark of divine preparation. Hiddenness is not the end of your story, it is the secret beginning of your manifestation. In the end, being alone is not a curse, but a calling. It is in solitude that you discover union with God, the whisper of the inner voice, the awakening of imagination, and the birth of desires that grow strongest in secrecy. It is in aloneness that God removes the wrong people, redirects your path, and hides you for a season so that you may emerge in strength. What the world calls isolation, heaven calls preparation. What feels like emptiness is in truth the fullness of God waiting to be revealed through you. So never despise your season of being alone. Embrace it, for it is the very place where you are shaped, strengthened, and aligned with your higher destiny. One day you will look back and realize that solitude was never a punishment. It was the sacred space where you were transformed into who you were always meant to be. Thank you for allowing these words to enter your heart. May they remind you that even in the quietest moments of life, you are never truly alone. For God Himself is with you, within you, and for you. Sit in silence. Close your eyes. Feel the stillness around you. You do not need to beg, chase, or struggle. Wealth is already yours. Right now, in this moment, you are the one holding the winning ticket. It has been placed in your hands and the numbers match perfectly. Your breath quickens. Your heart races with excitement. You know what this means. You have stepped into a new life, effortlessly. You don't need to figure out how it happens. You do not need to move a muscle. You are simply receiving what is already yours. Listen within. Do you hear the sound of your own voice, celebrating? Do you feel the weight of the check in your hands? Do you sense the rush of emotions as you realize your entire world has changed? This moment is real. It is already unfolding in unseen ways. You are not creating it. You are aligning with it. You are not forcing it. You are accepting it. Close your eyes and allow yourself to step beyond the limits of what you have been taught. You do not need to wish for a thing, nor do you need to struggle or plead. Wishing implies separation. Hoping acknowledges doubt. Trying hard only reinforces the idea that what you desire is not yet yours. But assumption, pure, unwavering assumption, has the power to override all barriers. It is the bridge between where you stand and where you desire to be. Most people believe that effort is required to achieve anything in life. They have been conditioned to think that only through struggle and persistence can they attain what they seek. But this is not so. The world you see, the life you experience, is simply a reflection of what you have accepted as true. You are not moving toward your desires. Your desires are drawn to you in accordance with your state of being. The moment you assume something is already done, the world has no choice but to arrange itself to reflect that assumption. Assumption is not merely thinking positively. It is not daydreaming or wishful thinking. It is a deep inner knowing that what you have imagined is not coming to you, it already is. Right now, in this moment, the version of you who has already received everything you desire exists. Your role is not to create, but to align. You do not need to force circumstances to change. You simply need to occupy the state of having. Take a moment and imagine yourself as the one who has won. What does it feel like to hold that winning ticket? To see the numbers match perfectly? To feel the weight of the check in your hands, knowing that your life has changed forever? Feel the excitement surge through your body. Hear the sound of your own voice as you celebrate, as you call those you love, as you breathe in this new reality. Do not analyze how it happened, just rest in the certainty that it has. Notice what happens within you. Perhaps a voice arises, whispering, "But how? Or maybe a wave of doubt surfaces, reminding you of the odds, of the impossibility, of the logic that governs the world. This is where most fail, not because their desires are out of reach, but because they allow these doubts to override their assumption. The mind, conditioned by years of limitation, seeks evidence before belief. But the law is not belief follows evidence. The law is that evidence follows belief. You must remain steadfast. When you assume, you do not waver, you do not check your surroundings to see if things are shifting, you do not entertain thoughts of failure. You rest in the feeling of already having. Just as an actor steps into a role and embodies the character fully, you must embody the state of the one who has already received. The world will respond in kind. This is not theory, it is the fundamental law of creation. Every great success, every miracle, every transformation has come not through force but through assumption. The ones who win, who rise, who receive are those who have already seen themselves as such before the world acknowledged it. They are not surprised when wealth arrives, when opportunity appears, when doors open effortlessly. They expected it. I ask you now, can you dare to assume? Can you close your eyes and claim it as yours without needing any proof? Can you walk, speak, and think as though you already hold the winning ticket? For if you can, if you make this assumption real within, then the outer world must bow to it. It has no choice. Let go of logic, let go of resistance, enter the state of already having. Walk as the one who knows, not as the one who wishes. And when you do, the world will shift beneath your feet to match the reality you have claimed. For a moment and step beyond the limits of what you have been taught. Let the outside world fade away as you enter the realm of imagination, the only place where true creation begins. What you see, what you hold in your mind with absolute conviction is not a mere fantasy. It is the blueprint of what is to come. The world you experience is not separate from your inner world, it is simply a reflection of it. Everything that exists around you was once held in someone's imagination. The chair you sit on, the building you walk past, the technology you use, all were once intangible thoughts before they solidified into reality. The same principle applies to your own life. If you can imagine something vividly, if you can feel it as real within yourself, it must take shape in the world around you. Bring to mind a scene so real, so clear that it feels as though you are living it now. You are standing there looking down at your hands, and in them you hold a lottery ticket. But this is not just any ticket. This is the winning ticket. The numbers match perfectly. The realization dawns upon you in waves, first as a spark of disbelief, then as a rush of excitement that overtakes your entire being. Your breath catches. Your hands tremble slightly as you recheck the numbers again and again, knowing with absolute certainty that this is real. Feel the weight of that ticket in your hands. Feel the texture of the paper, the ink that marks the numbers that have changed your life forever. You can hear the sounds around you, perhaps the hum of distant voices, the rustling of papers, the faint buzz of the environment. But none of it matters, because in this moment you have stepped into a new reality. Let that feeling expand. Let it fill every part of you. The joy, the relief, the overwhelming gratitude that wells up inside you. You know what this means. The struggle is over, the limitations of the past are gone, you have received what was always meant for you. You can see yourself sharing the news with those closest to you, their faces lighting up with happiness, their voices filled with excitement and awe. Everything feels natural, as though it was always supposed to happen this way. Hold on to that feeling. This is not pretend, this is not a mere daydream, this is creation. You are not simply imagining for the sake of entertainment, you are constructing the very foundation of your future. But here is the secret. You must not contradict this vision with doubt. The moment you say, "But how will it happen?" you begin to unravel the very reality you have set in motion. The how is not your concern. Your only responsibility is to make the experience within you so real, so complete, that the outer world has no choice but to rearrange itself to reflect what you have seen. Understand this: reality does not create imagination. Imagination creates reality. The events in your life, the circumstances you encounter, are nothing more than echoes of past thoughts and assumptions. If you wish to change what appears before you, you must first change what you hold within. Think of this as planting a seed. When you plant a seed in the soil, you do not dig it up every day to check if it is growing. You trust that it is taking root, that it is developing in the unseen before it becomes visible. Your imagination works the same way. The moment you have felt the reality of your desire, you have planted the seed. Now your job is to trust. Every time doubt arises, return to the scene. Live it again, breathe it in. Each time you do, you strengthen the roots of your creation, making it more and more inevitable. The mind does not know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. If you persist, it will accept your vision as truth. And when that happens, the world must follow. So do not wait for proof. Do not seek validation from the outside. Assume it, feel it, know it. And soon what was once only a vision in your mind will stand before you, solid and undeniable. The greatest obstacle between you and your desire is not the world outside, it is the doubt within. The moment you look at your circumstances and declare, "It's impossible," you have already accepted defeat. You have surrendered to appearances instead of recognizing your true power. But understand this: the world you see is not fixed. It is not the master of your fate. It is merely a reflection of what you hold within. If you allow doubt to take root, it will manifest in your experience. But if you can detach from doubt, if you can stand firm in the unseen, then what seems impossible must become reality. Doubt is the voice of the old self, the conditioned mind that has been trained to rely on logic and physical proof. It whispers, "Look at the odds. Look at your past failures. Look at the facts." It wants you to believe that circumstances dictate what is possible. But circumstances are nothing more than shadows cast by past beliefs. They are not permanent, and they hold no true power. If you accept them as unchangeable, you will remain bound by them. But if you can rise above them, if you can ignore the logic of the world and trust in the unseen, then you will move beyond limitation. To detach from doubt, you must first recognize its nature. Doubt is nothing but fear disguised as reason. It tries to keep you safe, to keep you from disappointment, but in doing so, it also keeps you from transformation. It is a chain that binds you to your current state, making you believe that only what is reasonable is possible. But reason is limited. It is based on what has already happened, not on what can happen. And if you live only by reason, you will forever be trapped in repetition, experiencing the same circumstances over and over again. I ask you to do something radical. Ignore the facts. Ignore the numbers, the statistics, the opinions of others. They are irrelevant. Instead, go inward. Create within yourself the certainty that what you desire is already yours. Feel the reality of it so deeply that there is no room for doubt. Because once you know something to be true within, the world has no choice but to follow. Imagine a sculptor standing before a block of stone. If he were to look at the stone and say, "This is just a rock, there is no statue here, it is impossible to change it," he would never begin. But the sculptor does not see only the stone, he sees what is hidden within it. He knows that the statue already exists inside. He simply has to remove what does not belong. Your desires are the same. The reality you seek is already present in the unseen. You only need to remove doubt and limitation to reveal it. Consider the wind. You cannot see it, but you can feel its presence. You do not question whether it exists simply because it is invisible. The unseen forces of life are just as real, just as powerful. Your belief, your assumption, your conviction, these are the unseen forces that shape the world around you. If you place more trust in what you cannot see than in what you can, you will witness miracles. But you must be steadfast. The moment you entertain doubt, you undo your work. The moment you check the outside world for proof, you slip back into the mindset of disbelief. A farmer does not dig up his seeds every day to see if they are growing. He plants them, waters them, and trusts in the process. You must do the same. Once you have assumed the reality of your desire, let it be. Do not question it. Do not wonder how it will happen. Simply know that it is done. There will be moments when logic tempts you to abandon your belief. It will urge you to be realistic. It will point to your current circumstances and say, "See, nothing has changed." But logic is not the highest power. The unseen shapes the seen, not the other way around. What appears real today is only the result of past thinking. If you persist, if you hold firm in your assumption, reality will conform to your vision. You are the creator of your experience. You are not at the mercy of chance, nor are you limited by what seems probable. Probability is only a measure of what has happened before, not what must happen next. The moment you detach from doubt and assume the feeling of already having, the forces of the unseen begin to move. Doors open where none existed, paths appear where there were once only walls. What once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. So, stand firm. Refuse to be shaken by circumstances. Ignore the logic of the world and trust in the unseen. If you do, you will come to understand a truth that few dare to accept. Nothing is impossible, except the limits you place upon yourself. And step into the reality where your desire is already fulfilled. Feel the moment as if it is happening now. The excitement courses through you. Your hands are shaking as you hold the winning ticket. The realization dawns upon you like the rising sun. It's done. There is no need to hope, no need to wish, no need to wonder. You already have it. The relief washes over you and a deep sense of gratitude fills your entire being. This is the feeling you must hold, but only for a moment. Once you have fully embraced it, once you have felt it so vividly that it becomes real to you, then you must let it go. You do not need to force anything into existence. You do not need to beg, struggle, or chase. The moment you have felt the reality of your desire within, the work is done. Your subconscious mind has already accepted it as truth. And the unseen forces of creation are now in motion. Think of it like planting a seed. When you place a seed into the soil, you do not stand over it demanding that it grow. You do not dig it up every day to check if it is sprouting. You trust that beneath the surface something is happening. You know that if you leave it alone, water it with faith, and allow nature to take its course, the seed will grow into a mighty tree. Your desires work the same way. Once you have planted them in the soil of your imagination, once you have truly felt them as real, you must release them and trust that they are unfolding in perfect order. Many people struggle because they do not let go. They feel the excitement for a moment, but then they return to doubt, questioning, and overthinking. They constantly check their circumstances, looking for proof, and in doing so, they disrupt the process. They dig up the seed before it has a chance to take root. This is why so many fail. They do not trust. They try to force things to happen instead of allowing them to unfold naturally. But creation does not happen through force. It happens through surrender. The most powerful way to manifest anything is to feel it completely and then release it with full confidence that it is already done. The moment you let go is the moment the universe takes over. The subconscious mind, which holds the true power of creation, will now begin to rearrange circumstances, people, and events to bring your desire into form. It does not need your interference. It only needs your faith. Imagine you have ordered something online. The moment you place the order, you do not keep refreshing the page, doubting whether it will arrive. You know it is on its way. You trust the process. You go about your day fully assured that what you requested is coming. This is the attitude you must adopt with your desires. Once you have felt them real, Once you have placed the order in your subconscious, you must trust that they are being delivered to you in the perfect way, at the perfect time. Letting go does not mean you forget about your desire. It does not mean you stop wanting it. It means you no longer worry about how it will happen. You do not chase, you do not force, you do not beg. You simply allow. You rest in the certainty that it is already yours. This is why so many people fail to manifest. They cling too tightly. They think about their desire with desperation, constantly wondering when it will come. But desperation is the opposite of faith. When you feel desperate, you are affirming that you do not have what you want. And what you affirm within, you create in your outer world. Instead, you must feel the joy, the satisfaction, and the relief of already having. And then you must move on with your life, knowing that it is unfolding perfectly. Look at the world around you. Everything you see was once unseen. Every great invention, every masterpiece, every moment of joy someone has ever experienced began first in the unseen world of imagination. The moment it was accepted as real within, it was set in motion. The same is true for your desires. They are already moving toward you. But you must not block them with fear, doubt, or impatience. What must you do now? Nothing. Simply know. Know that it is done. Feel it deeply, embrace it fully, and then walk away with confidence. Go about your day with the quiet assurance that the forces beyond your understanding are working on your behalf. The seed has been planted, the process is in motion. When the time is right, what you have felt will appear before you, just as surely as the sun rises each morning. You do not need to push, you do not need to chase. You only need to feel, believe, and let go. And when you do, you will see with your own eyes that reality bends to the one who trusts in the unseen. Imagine yourself as the person who has already won. Not someone who is waiting, not someone who is hoping, but someone who knows, without a shadow of a doubt, that they are already in possession of their fortune. Feel the weight of that certainty within you. See yourself holding the winning ticket, looking at the numbers that match perfectly, knowing this moment was inevitable. There is no hesitation, no second guessing. You are not asking, will it happen? You are standing in the moment where it already has. This is the key, living in the end. You do not dwell in a mindset of one day, someday, maybe. That is the language of those who do not yet believe. You step into the version of yourself who already has what they desire, and you do not step out. You embody the reality of your wish fulfilled, not as an occasional thought, but as your permanent state of being. Look at your life right now. What do you see? Do you see lack? Do you see waiting? Do you see uncertainty? If so, it is because you are living in a reality that is separate from your desire. You are still hoping instead of knowing. But what happens when you shift? What happens when you begin to walk through life as someone who already possesses what they seek? Your mind no longer searches for confirmation because it no longer needs it. You do not check your bank account every day, worrying if there is enough because you know you are wealthy. You do not wish for abundance. You carry yourself as someone who is abundant. You do not spend your days hoping for good fortune. You assume that fortune follows you wherever you go. You must think from the end, feel from the end, and act from the end. It is not enough to visualize once and then return to your old habits of thought. You must persist in the assumption that it is already done. Even when the outer world does not yet reflect it, even when circumstances appear unchanged, you do not waver. You remain steadfast in the reality you have chosen to embody. Consider an actor who steps into a role. When they perform, they are not pretending, they become the character. They adopt the thoughts, emotions, and behaviors of the role they are playing, and for that time they are that person. This is what you must do. You must step into the role of the person who already has what they seek. And the longer you stay in that state, the more your outer world will conform to match it. Doubt will try to creep in. The logical mind will argue that nothing has changed. The world will tell you to be realistic. But reality is not fixed. It is shaped by the assumptions you hold. If you continue to live in the old version of yourself, the one who is still waiting, still wondering, still hoping, you will remain stuck in that loop. But the moment you fully assume your new identity, the moment you truly feel the relief of already having, your world begins to shift. Imagine waking up tomorrow and knowing without a doubt that your fortune is already yours. How would you feel? Would you be anxious? Would you be desperate? No. You would move through your day with ease, with certainty, with a quiet confidence that does not seek validation because it already knows. You would not talk about your dreams as though they are distant. You would speak from the reality of them already being fulfilled. That is the secret. When you live in the end, you bypass the waiting. You step beyond time itself and claim what is already yours in the unseen. And once you claim it within, the outer world has no choice but to conform. So do not wait. Do not entertain thoughts of one day or maybe. Do not speak of your desires as something you hope will happen. Speak as though they already have. Feel as though they are already yours. Carry yourself as the person who no longer wonders, but knows. Your reality will shape itself around you. The world does not dictate what you receive, you do. And when you assume the feeling of already having, when you truly live in the end, you will watch as what was once only a vision becomes the undeniable truth of your life. There is an immense power in silence. What you hold within, protected from the doubts and opinions of others, gains strength. The moment you begin to speak of your desires to those who do not understand, you risk diluting their energy. Every doubt, every skeptical glance, every question of how and when chips away at the certainty you are cultivating. And certainty, absolute knowing, is the force that brings your desires into reality. When you share your vision with those who cannot see what you see, they project their own limitations onto you. They ask, "Are you sure? How will that happen? What if it doesn't work?" These words may seem harmless, but they plant seeds of doubt in your mind. Even if you do not consciously accept them, they linger beneath the surface, weakening your faith. You do not need validation. You do not need permission. The only thing required is your unwavering belief in what you have chosen to manifest. And belief is strengthened in stillness. Think of a seed planted in the soil. It does not need to be pulled up every day to check if it is growing. It does not need to be explained to others in order to take root. It simply requires time, nourishment, and the right environment. Your desires work the same way. They need quiet. They need protection from the harsh winds of doubt and skepticism. The more you speak of them to others, the more you expose them to opinions that may shake your faith. The world does not need to know your plans. It does not need to understand what you are creating in the unseen. What you nurture in the silence of your own mind will grow into undeniable reality. There is no need to prove anything to anyone. When the time is right, the results will speak for themselves. Many people have learned this lesson the hard way. They excitedly share their desires with friends, family, or colleagues, only to be met with skepticism. That's unrealistic. That's impossible. Do you really think you can do that? Even when these words are said with good intentions, they create resistance. They make you second guess yourself. But when you remain silent, no one can interfere. No one can inject doubt into something they do not know exists. Your desire remains pure, untouched by the limitations of others. And in this protected state, it grows stronger, becoming more real with each passing day. There is another reason why silence is so powerful. When you speak too soon, you release energy that should be directed inward. Every time you talk about your desire before it has fully materialized, you dissipate some of its force. You scatter the energy that should be used to deepen your belief and strengthen your assumption. Have you ever noticed that the more people talk about something they intend to do, the less likely they are to actually do it? This is because talking gives them a false sense of accomplishment. They feel as though they have already taken action, and so the urgency to bring it into reality weakens. But when you keep your desire to yourself, it remains concentrated. The energy stays within, intensifying rather than dispersing. It is not secrecy out of fear, it is protection out of wisdom. You are not hiding because you doubt. You are remaining silent because you know. You do not need external validation. You do not need agreement from others. You walk with quiet confidence, knowing that what you have declared within must become true in the world around you. This is the way of those who understand the deeper laws of creation. They do not announce their intentions. They do not seek approval. They move in silence, shaping reality from within. And then, when their vision has fully materialized, they let the world see the results. By then, there is no need to explain, no need to justify. The proof is undeniable. You must learn to do the same. If you have a desire, hold it close. Let it grow in the stillness of your mind. Nurture it with belief. Strengthen it with conviction, and shield it from the doubts of those who cannot see what you see. The greatest things are created in silence. The most powerful manifestations happen without announcement, without external validation, without the need for others to believe. Because when you truly know, when you have assumed the feeling of already having, you do not need to convince anyone. Silence is power. It is the space where dreams take form. It is the protection that allows your desire to grow unhindered. It is the energy that ensures what you hold within becomes what you experience without. So do not speak of your desires before their time. Keep your vision sacred. Guard it fiercely. Let the world see only the outcome, never the process. And when your reality shifts, when what you once imagined stands before you as undeniable truth, you will understand the power of silence. All that you seek is already within you. The moment you assume it, the moment you see it vividly in your imagination and let go of doubt, the unseen begins to shape the seen. You do not need to chase, struggle, or convince anyone. Reality bends to the one who dares to believe in their own inner power. Detach from doubt, feel the joy of having, and then release it with unwavering faith. Live in the end, knowing it is done, and move in silence, protecting your vision from those who do not understand. The universe does not respond to effort, it responds to certainty. When you know it is yours, the world will have no choice but to reflect it back to you. Trust in the process, remain still in your faith, and watch as your desire unfolds effortlessly before you. Thank you.
We often see solitude as loneliness, a state to be avoided, a void that needs to be filled. But in truth, solitude is where the soul finds its highest expression. It is in being alone that we discover the boundless power that resides within. When you find yourself alone, something remarkable happens. The external world fades, and you become acutely aware of the inner realm, the space where your imagination reigns supreme. It is in this state of solitude that imagination becomes not just a passive daydream, but an active, creative force capable of shaping reality itself. In those moments of quiet introspection, you are free from the distractions and influences of the outside world, which allows your imagination to expand and operate without limits. Imagination is far more than a fanciful escape. It is, in fact, the engine of creation. Everything that exists around you, every invention, every achievement, every advancement began as an idea, a vision, or a mental picture in someone's mind. When you are alone, your imagination is unencumbered by the judgments or opinions of others. It can operate freely, unafraid of criticism or doubt. This is why solitude is such fertile ground for creativity. It provides the space to let your imagination explore uncharted territories. Your imagination serves as a bridge between the present and the future. What you imagine today has the potential to become your reality tomorrow. The key lies in understanding that imagination is not separate from reality, but rather a precursor to it. Your mind has the extraordinary ability to visualize outcomes and scenarios before they physically manifest. When you close your eyes and picture yourself succeeding, achieving, or experiencing something new, you are not merely fantasizing, you are creating the blueprint for what will eventually come to pass. Consider the role imagination plays in shaping your beliefs and expectations. What you habitually think about in your moments of solitude directly influences how you perceive the world around you. If you spend time imagining a future filled with abundance, joy, and success, your mind begins to align itself with those possibilities. On the other hand, if you allow your imagination to dwell on fear, lack, or failure, you will find yourself unconsciously moving toward those outcomes. The power of imagination lies in its ability to mold not only your thoughts, but also the circumstances of your life. This power becomes even more profound when we understand that imagination is not limited by time, space, or the constraints of the physical world. You can use your imagination to transcend the limitations of your current situation and explore infinite possibilities. It is through this process that great inventions are born, new ideas emerge, and personal transformations take place. When you are alone, you are free to play with these possibilities, to experiment with different outcomes in your mind before bringing them into your reality. Many of the most successful and creative individuals throughout history have spoken about the importance of solitude and imagination in their work. Whether it was Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, or Leonardo da Vinci, they all recognized that their most groundbreaking ideas came to them when they were alone, allowing their imaginations to roam freely. In the quiet of their own minds, they were able to see connections and possibilities that eluded others. This is because when you are alone, your mind is not bound by the expectations or limitations imposed by society. You are free to envision a world that does not yet exist, a reality that you alone can create. Moreover, imagination is intimately tied to emotion, and this emotional connection is what gives it such profound creative power. When you imagine something vividly and infuse that vision with emotion, whether it be excitement, passion, or gratitude, you are essentially programming your subconscious mind to bring that vision into existence. Your emotions act as fuel, giving life to the mental pictures you create. This is why, when you are alone and fully immersed in your imaginative world, you often feel a sense of exhilaration or deep fulfillment. You are aligning yourself with the energy of creation itself. You have the opportunity to cultivate this imaginative power deliberately. You can choose to direct your thoughts toward the outcomes you desire, visualizing them with clarity and emotion until they feel as real as your current circumstances. The more you practice this, the more you will notice that your external world begins to shift in alignment with your inner visions. People, opportunities, and resources that were once out of reach will seem to appear as if by magic, drawn to the energy you are emitting. The power of imagination lies in its ability to transform your life from the inside out. In moments of solitude, when you are free from the distractions of the world, you can tap into this infinite power within you. You become not a passive observer of life, but an active creator, shaping your reality through the images and visions you hold in your mind. Imagination, when embraced fully, is the most powerful tool you possess for manifesting the life you desire. There is a profound magic in solitude, a quiet force that often goes unnoticed in the rush of everyday life. Many people shy away from being alone, fearing it as a form of isolation or emptiness. But to those who understand its true value, solitude becomes a gateway to something far more powerful: creativity. In the stillness, when the noise of the world fades and distractions dissolve, the mind opens to the vast possibilities of creation. This is creative solitude, a sacred space where your deepest ideas and visions can emerge. Creative solitude is not about loneliness, it is about presence. When you are alone, you become fully present with yourself, without the influence of others. In this space, your thoughts are your own, and there is no pressure to conform to external expectations. In solitude, you reconnect with the essence of who you are. You peel away the layers of societal roles, responsibilities, and noise to rediscover your own voice, your own vision. This is where true creativity thrives, when you can listen to your inner self without interference. Being alone allows your mind to wander freely, unrestricted by the constraints that often come with interacting in groups or social settings. Ideas that might have been stifled by the judgments or opinions of others now have room to breathe. In this solitude, you can explore the depths of your imagination, experimenting with concepts, dreams, and possibilities that are uniquely yours. This process is not rushed, it unfolds naturally, in its own time. The more you allow yourself to be comfortable in this creative solitude, the more inspiration will flow to you. Many great minds have recognized the importance of solitude in their creative processes. Writers, artists, inventors, and thinkers throughout history have spoken of the need to retreat from the world in order to access their most innovative ideas. For them, solitude was not a hindrance, but a gift, a place where they could immerse themselves in their work without distraction. In these moments of withdrawal, they were able to dig deeper into their consciousness and uncover insights that had eluded them in busier settings. Creative solitude is not just about the act of creation, it is about connection, a deeper connection with yourself and the world around you. When you are alone, you can tap into the rhythms of your own thoughts and feelings. You become attuned to the subtle movements of your inner world, allowing you to explore ideas with a heightened sense of clarity and intuition. In this space, you are not influenced by the need to perform or impress. You are free to create from a place of authenticity and truth. This inner connection fuels the creative process, allowing you to produce work that resonates on a deeper level. The act of creating in solitude also invites reflection. When you are alone, you have the space to reflect on your ideas, to refine them, and to let them evolve. Creativity is rarely a linear process. It often involves moments of doubt, revision, and exploration. Solitude provides the mental and emotional space to navigate these stages of the creative journey without feeling rushed or pressured. It gives you the time to observe your thoughts, to try different approaches, and to embrace the natural flow of inspiration as it comes. Solitude allows you to cultivate focus. In a world that is constantly vying for your attention through technology, social interactions, and endless demands, being alone can feel like a refuge. It is in this refuge that you can devote your full attention to the act of creation. Whether it's writing, painting, problem solving, or brainstorming new ideas, solitude gives you the uninterrupted time you need to dive deeply into a work. Without the distractions of the outside world, your focus sharpens, and your creative energy becomes more concentrated. Moreover, solitude offers you the chance to step back and see the bigger picture. Often when we are caught up in the hustle of daily life, we lose sight of our creative goals or long-term visions. Solitude provides a moment of pause, where you can reassess your direction and realign with your purpose. It allows you to reconnect with what truly matters to you, both creatively and personally. This kind of reflection is essential for sustaining a creative life. It helps you stay grounded, ensuring that your work remains aligned with your authentic desires and values. Solitude also encourages a form of inner dialogue that is essential for creativity. When you are alone, you are forced to engage in conversation with yourself, to ask questions, to challenge your assumptions, to explore new perspectives. This self-dialogue is where some of the greatest creative breakthroughs occur. Without the influence of external voices, you can develop your ideas in a more intimate and profound way. This process of internal questioning and exploration often leads to the kind of original thinking that defines great creative work. Creative solitude is a practice that requires embracing stillness and trusting the process. It may not always feel productive or immediately fruitful, but it is in these quiet moments that the seeds of creativity are planted. Over time, as you cultivate this space, your creative ideas will begin to take shape, growing into something tangible and meaningful. The power of creative solitude lies in its ability to connect you with the deepest parts of yourself, allowing you to create from a place of authenticity, clarity, and boundless possibility. Silence is often misunderstood. In a world that prizes noise and constant activity, silence can seem uncomfortable, even unsettling. Yet in truth, silence holds a profound power, one that is essential for deep self-discovery. In silence, when the distractions of the outside world fall away, You are left with only yourself, your thoughts, your emotions, your inner landscape. This stillness creates a sacred space where you can explore your true nature, understand your deepest desires, and confront the parts of yourself that are often hidden beneath the surface. When you embrace silence, you begin to realize that it is not an empty void, but a rich and fertile ground for introspection. In moments of silence, you are no longer bombarded by the constant input of the external world, social media, conversations, news, and endless stimuli. Instead, you are gifted with the opportunity to tune into your own inner voice, the one that often gets drowned out in the noise of daily life. This is where self-discovery begins. In silence, you can hear your own thoughts more clearly, and in doing so, you start to unravel the layers of who you truly are. It is in this quiet space that you begin to confront your true self. Silence removes the masks we wear in social settings, the facades we present to others. When there is no one else around, no external expectations to meet, you are left with only yourself, raw, unfiltered, and honest. For many, this can be an uncomfortable experience at first. We are often conditioned to avoid the deeper aspects of ourselves, especially those parts we find challenging or painful. But in silence, there is no escape. You are gently forced to look inward and face whatever you may have been avoiding. This confrontation with the self is not a negative experience, rather, it is a liberating one. As you sit with your thoughts and emotions in silence, you begin to see them for what they truly are. You realize that many of the fears and doubts that have held you back are illusions, constructs of the mind that lose their power when examined in the light of awareness. In this space, you also come to understand your strengths, your passions, and your true desires. Self-discovery is not just about recognizing your challenges, it is also about reclaiming your inner power and potential. Silence fosters a deep connection with your intuition. When the external noise fades, your inner wisdom has the chance to speak. This intuitive voice often communicates subtly, through feelings, insights, or quiet realizations. In the noise of daily life, these messages are easily overlooked, but in silence they come to the forefront. Listening to this inner guidance allows you to make decisions that are aligned with your true self, rather than being influenced by outside pressures or societal norms. Over time, as you cultivate a practice of silence, this connection to your intuition grows stronger, guiding you with a sense of clarity and purpose. Another important aspect of silence is that it teaches you to be comfortable with yourself. In a world that is constantly urging us to do more, achieve more, and be more, silence reminds us that we are enough just as we are. In the quiet, you learn to sit with yourself without the need for distraction or validation from others. This is a profound aspect of self-discovery, realizing that you are whole and complete, independent of external achievements or relationships. Silence nurtures self-acceptance, teaching you that your worth is inherent and does not need to be proven. Furthermore, silence allows for emotional healing. Often our busy lives prevent us from truly processing our emotions. We suppress them, distract ourselves, or push them aside in favor of more pressing tasks. But unprocessed emotions do not disappear. They linger beneath the surface, influencing our behavior and our relationships in ways we may not even realize. In silence, these emotions can finally come to light. You are given the space to feel them fully, to understand their origins, and to release them. This process of emotional release is an essential part of self-discovery, as it clears away the old patterns and baggage that have been holding you back. Silence is a pathway to inner transformation. It strips away the external noise and distractions, allowing you to reconnect with your true self. Through reflection, confrontation, and deep listening, you begin to discover who you are at your core beyond the roles you play, beyond the expectations placed upon you. You learn to trust yourself, to listen to your intuition, and to embrace both your strengths and your challenges. In this way, silence is not just a pause in the noise, it is a powerful tool for self-discovery and personal growth. By embracing silence, you embark on a journey inward, one that reveals the depth and richness of your inner world. And in this space, you find not only answers but also peace, clarity, and a sense of purpose that comes from knowing yourself on the deepest level. The conversation you have with yourself, your inner dialogue, is the most powerful and continuous interaction of your life. Often overlooked, it shapes how you see the world, how you experience reality, and ultimately who you become. Unlike external conversations that come and go, your inner dialogue is ever present, running in the background, influencing your thoughts, emotions, and actions. Understanding and mastering this inner dialogue is essential for personal transformation, as it is the key to shaping your life from within. We all engage in self-talk, but most people are not fully conscious of the profound impact it has. It is in your inner dialogue that your beliefs about yourself and the world are constantly reinforced, whether those beliefs are empowering or limiting. When you listen closely, you will realize that much of what you tell yourself daily shapes your perception of reality. If your inner dialogue is filled with self-doubt, criticism, or fear, your life will reflect those thoughts. Conversely, if you cultivate a positive and empowering inner dialogue, you create a mental environment conducive to growth, success, and happiness. One of the most important aspects of your inner dialogue is that it acts as a mirror, reflecting your self-image. What you tell yourself about who you are, your abilities, your worth, your potential determines how you show up in the world. If your inner dialogue is filled with thoughts like, "I'm not good enough," or "I can't do this," those statements become self-fulfilling prophecies. You will unconsciously act in ways that confirm these beliefs. On the other hand, when you engage in affirming, uplifting conversations with yourself, such as "I am capable" or "I deserve success," your actions will align with that mindset, leading you to make decisions that enhance your growth and well-being. Many people don't realize that they have the power to change their inner dialogue. Often we allow it to run on autopilot, influenced by past experiences, societal conditioning, or external opinions. However, once you become aware of the content of your inner conversations, you can begin to actively shape them. This requires a heightened level of self-awareness, taking the time to observe your thoughts without judgment and recognizing when they are not serving you. With practice, you can shift your inner dialogue from being critical and negative to being supportive and constructive. The process of changing your inner dialogue begins with self-compassion. It is common for people to speak to themselves in ways they would never speak to another person. Harsh self-criticism, judgment, and negativity are often present in the inner conversations people have with themselves. But this kind of dialogue does not foster growth. It keeps you stuck in patterns of self-sabotage. To shift this, you must first practice speaking to yourself with kindness. Replace critical thoughts with understanding and patience, and you will begin to notice a significant change in how you feel and how you approach challenges. In addition to self-compassion, affirmations play a crucial role in transforming your inner dialogue. Affirmations are positive statements that reflect the person you wish to become or the reality you want to create. By repeating affirmations regularly, you can reprogram your subconscious mind and reshape your beliefs. For example, if you struggle with self-doubt, an affirmation like "I am confident and capable" can slowly replace the negative self-talk that has been holding you back. Over time, these affirmations become part of your inner dialogue, helping you to cultivate a mindset of possibility and empowerment. Your inner dialogue also extends beyond how you speak to yourself. It affects how you perceive and interpret the world around you. When your inner dialogue is grounded in negativity, you will often view the world through a lens of fear or lack. You may focus on problems instead of solutions, or on what's missing in your life, rather than what you have. This creates a reality where opportunities are overlooked and challenges seem insurmountable. However, when your inner dialogue is positive and growth-oriented, you begin to see the world as a place full of possibility. You start to recognize opportunities where before there were none, and even setbacks become lessons or stepping stones towards success. The practice of mindfulness can greatly enhance your ability to observe and shape your inner dialogue. Mindfulness involves being fully present in the moment and aware of your thoughts without judgment. When you practice mindfulness, you become more attuned to the quality of your inner dialogue and can catch negative patterns before they take hold. Instead of allowing a single negative thought to spiral into a series of discouraging beliefs, mindfulness helps you stop the process. allowing you to choose a more positive and empowering direction. The power of your inner dialogue lies in its ability to create your reality. What you repeatedly say to yourself becomes your belief system, and your beliefs shape your actions, habits, and experiences. By actively choosing thoughts that uplift and empower you, you can change not only how you feel about yourself, but also the course of your life. The key is consistency, regularly engaging in positive self-talk and catching negative thoughts before they spiral out of control. As you cultivate a healthy, positive inner dialogue, you will begin to notice shifts in every area of your life. You will feel more confident, more resilient in the face of challenges, and more open to new possibilities. Your relationships will improve because you will approach them from a place of self-assuredness rather than insecurity. Your goals will seem more achievable, not because the world has changed, but because you have changed the way you think about yourself and your capabilities. Mastering your inner dialogue is one of the most transformative practices you can undertake. It is a subtle, yet powerful process of self-discovery and self-creation, one that unlocks the potential that has always been within you. The idea of manifesting from the inner world is rooted in the understanding that the external world is a reflection of your inner state, your thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and desires. Everything you experience externally begins as a seed in your mind. This concept, often referred to as the law of attraction or the power of intention, suggests that what you focus on internally, you bring into existence externally. At the core of manifesting from the inner world in this is the belief not about wishful thinking or mere daydreaming. Every thought you hold consciously aligning your inner world with the reality you want to create. When you consistently think about something, you direct energy toward it. Whether it is a goal, a desire, or even a fear, your thoughts generate energy that begins to take form in your external life. This is why it is so important to become aware of your mental habits. If your mind is focused on lack, limitation, or fear, you will manifest more of those experiences in your life. On the other hand, if your mind is filled with thoughts of abundance, possibility, and success, you will attract those experiences. However, manifesting from the inner world is not just about positive thinking, it goes deeper. It involves aligning your beliefs, emotions, and actions with the outcomes you desire. Simply thinking about something is not enough if deep down you don't truly believe it is possible for you. Your beliefs create a framework that either supports or sabotages your desires. For example, if you want to achieve financial success, but hold a subconscious belief that money is scarce or that you are unworthy of abundance, your efforts will be undermined by these limiting beliefs. To manifest successfully, you must address and transform these internal beliefs so that they are in harmony with what you wish to create. Emotions also play a crucial role in manifesting from the inner world. Feelings are the fuel that gives power to your thoughts. When you emotionally connect with your desires, you generate a strong vibration that the universe responds to. For instance, if you desire a loving relationship, it is not enough to simply think about it. You must also feel the emotions associated with being in that relationship. Feel the love, joy, and connection as though it is already a part of your life. This emotional alignment creates a magnetic force that draws the experience to you. In essence, you are practicing the feeling of what it would be like to have your desire, which accelerates its manifestation. Visualization is one of the most powerful tools for manifesting from the inner world. It allows you to create a mental image of your desired outcome, as if it has already happened. When you visualize, you are not just imagining something in the abstract, you are engaging your mind and emotions in a way that makes the vision feel real. This sends a clear signal to your subconscious mind, which begins to work in the background to bring that vision to life. The more vivid and detailed your visualization, the more effective it is. Imagine the sights, sounds, and feelings associated with your goal. Immerse yourself in the experience mentally, and your external world will start to shift to match that vision. Beyond thoughts, beliefs, and emotions, manifesting from the inner world requires aligned action. This means taking steps in the physical world that are consistent with your desired outcome. While the inner world is where manifestation begins, it must be complemented by action in the outer world. For instance, if you are manifesting a new career, you cannot simply think about it and hope it materializes. You must also take actions that support your vision, whether that is applying from the inner world is faith, improving your skills, or manifestation is not always instant. Action sometimes there is a gap between the inner and outer you plant the seed in your mind, and it demonstrates your commitment materializes in your life. During this period, it is essential to maintain faith in the process. Doubt, fear, or impatience can disrupt the energy you've created and delay the manifestation. Trust that what you have envisioned is on its way, even if it has not yet appeared. This faith keeps your energy aligned with your desire and ensures that you continue to attract it. Another important aspect of manifestation is the practice of gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you already have, which in turn attracts more of what you want. By being grateful for your current circumstances, even if they are not yet ideal, you raise your vibrational frequency and align with abundance. Gratitude creates a mindset of appreciation, which invites more things to be thankful for. In this way, gratitude acts as a magnet, drawing your desires closer to you. Manifesting from the inner world is about cultivating the right thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and actions to bring your desires into reality. It is a process of aligning your inner state with the life you wish to create. Through conscious focus, emotional connection, visualization, and aligned action, you can shape your reality in powerful ways. When you understand that the outer world is a reflection of the inner, you begin to realize that you hold the creative power to manifest anything you desire. Self-reliance is the foundation upon which personal mastery is built. It is the ability to depend on yourself for guidance, strength, and resilience in the face of life's challenges. In a world that often encourages dependence on external validation, authority figures, or societal systems, cultivating self-reliance is a radical act. It requires you to trust in your own abilities, instincts, and decisions. This trust, in turn, leads to a deeper sense of mastery not just over external circumstances, but over your inner world, your thoughts and emotions. At its core, self-reliance is about taking ownership of your life. It means recognizing that you are responsible for your actions, choices, and the path you choose to walk. It is easy to fall into the habit of blaming external forces, other people, circumstances, or luck for the outcomes of your life. But self-reliance asks you to shift that perspective. Instead of viewing life as something that happens to you, you begin to see it as something you actively create. This mindset empowers you because it gives you the control to change your circumstances through your own efforts. Self-reliance does not mean isolation or rejecting help from others. Rather, it is the confidence that, regardless of external support, you are capable of standing on your own. This confidence is essential for personal mastery, which refers to the process of developing a deep understanding and control over oneself. Mastery involves cultivating skills, knowledge, and emotional intelligence to navigate life with purpose and precision. It is not about achieving perfection, but about continuously improving and growing. Self-reliance fuels this process because it encourages you to take initiative, make decisions, and learn from your experiences. One of the key aspects of self-reliance is the ability to trust your inner voice. Many people are accustomed to seeking approval or guidance from others before making decisions, often at the expense of their own intuition. While external advice can be valuable, it is important to recognize that no one knows your life, your dreams, or your values as intimately as you do. Learning to trust your instincts is a crucial part of self-reliance. When you rely on yourself, you become more in tune with your inner wisdom, which helps you make decisions that are aligned with your authentic self. This inner trust is the cornerstone of mastery because it fosters a deeper understanding of who you are and what you are capable of. To trusting your intuition, self-reliance requires self-discipline. Mastery is not achieved through sporadic effort, but through consistent, focused action. Self-discipline is the ability to stay committed to your goals, even when it is difficult. It is the strength to push through challenges, setbacks, and distractions without giving up. When you are self-reliant, you develop the discipline to take responsibility for your progress. You don't wait for motivation to strike instead. You create your own momentum through daily effort and perseverance. This discipline is what transforms self-reliance into mastery, as it allows you to continuously refine your skills and deepen your understanding of yourself and the world around you. In conclusion, self-reliance is the foundation for achieving personal mastery. It empowers you to trust your intuition, take responsibility for your life, and cultivate the discipline and resilience necessary for continuous growth. By fostering self-reliance, you gain the strength to navigate challenges, learn from failures, and develop a deep respect for yourself. Personal mastery is a lifelong journey, and with self-reliance as your guide, you have the power to shape your path and unlock your full potential. Thank you for your time, and may you continue to grow in self-reliance and mastery. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world that prizes reason, logic, and external evidence. It tells us, only believe what you can see and prove, but I am here to tell you today that if you live only by reason, you will remain bound to the current limitations of your life. There is a greater power, one far more subtle, yet infinitely more potent, that resides within each of us, the power to believe in the unseen, to hold fast to a vision that reason denies. The concept that imagination is the gateway to reality challenges the conventional wisdom that we must rely solely on the tangible, the measurable, and the rational. For many, the idea of imagination may seem whimsical or even irrelevant when it comes to creating real change in life. Yet history and experience have shown time and again that every great achievement, every breakthrough, and every remarkable transformation began as a thought in the mind of someone who dared to imagine beyond their present circumstances. Imagination is far more than mere daydreaming or idle fantasy. It is the creative faculty that shapes our perception of the world and ultimately the world itself. When you allow your imagination to envision something greater, something different from what you currently see, you begin to plant the seeds of transformation. The external world is, in many ways, a reflection of the inner world, and what we continually think about, focus on, and give emotional energy to begins to take shape in our experience. This is why it's essential to understand that imagination is not just a passive tool, it is an active force that can bring about real change. Consider for a moment the lives of individuals who have changed the course of history: visionaries, inventors, artists, and pioneers. Before their innovations or creations came into existence, these individuals first saw them in the theater of their mind. Whether it was Thomas Edison imagining the light bulb, the Wright brothers envisioning flight, or Martin Luther King Jr. dreaming of a world of racial equality, these great achievements did not originate from the realm of reason or logic. In fact, many of them went against the prevailing wisdom of their time. But through the power of imagination, they were able to bring forth what reason alone could not justify. To imagine is to allow yourself to see beyond the present limitations of your life and the world around you. It's to create a vision of something that does not yet exist in physical form, but is very real in your mind. This is where the gateway to reality begins. Our current circumstances are often a result of the thoughts and beliefs we have entertained over time. What we consistently imagine, we begin to feel, and what we feel, we start to act upon. It is these actions, driven by the emotional power of imagination, that eventually bring our visions into physical form. Now, why is it that so many people fail to utilize the power of imagination? Often it is because they are imprisoned by what they perceive to be realistic thinking. They look around at their current situation and feel that it is all there is. Logic tells them that if they want to improve their lives, they must work within the framework of what is possible, reasonable, or practical. Yet, this kind of thinking severely limits one's potential. When you focus only on what is, you are not leaving room for what could be. Imagination requires a willingness to suspend disbelief, to move beyond the confines of reason, and to allow yourself to dream without restriction. This is not to say that reason and logic are not valuable. They certainly have their place in helping us navigate the practical aspects of life. However, they are tools for shaping and managing the world once a vision has been set in motion. Imagination, on the other hand, is the tool that creates the vision in the first place. Without it, you remain stuck within the boundaries of your current circumstances. To truly tap into the power of imagination, you must go beyond simply thinking about what you want. You must feel it as though it is already yours. This is where the real magic happens. When you engage your emotions, when you allow yourself to feel the joy, the satisfaction, and the fulfillment of having what you desire, your subconscious mind begins to align with that vision. It doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. It only knows the feeling. And as you persist in imagining and feeling your desired outcome, the subconscious mind begins to work behind the scenes to make that vision a reality. This is why so many successful people speak of the importance of visualization, of seeing and feeling their desired outcomes long before they happen. They understand that the mind is the master architect, and what is first built in the mind will eventually be built in the world. The only thing stopping us from living the life we imagine is our unwillingness to believe in the power of that imagination. When you dare to imagine a reality greater than the one you currently see, you are opening the door to infinite possibilities. You are stepping into a realm where reason has no place, where the laws of time and space bend to the creative power of thought. And it is in this space that dreams are made real, one thought at a time. In the unseen is a profound and transformative principle that challenges our usual reliance on the tangible and the visible. In a world that often demands evidence before belief, the idea of having faith in what cannot be immediately perceived or proven seems almost radical. Yet faith in the unseen has been at the core of countless personal triumphs, spiritual breakthroughs, and even scientific advancements. It is the engine that drives individuals to pursue goals, dreams, and realities that reason alone cannot support. At its core, faith is the ability to trust in an outcome, a possibility, or a vision that has not yet materialized in the physical world. It is a deep-seated belief that what you desire or what you envision is already on its way to becoming real, even when no external signs point to it. This kind of faith is not blind optimism, rather it is an inner conviction that transcends doubt and uncertainty. It is the quiet confidence that whispers it is done even when every outward circumstance screams it is impossible. To have faith in the unseen requires a shift in perspective. Most of us are conditioned to believe in what we can see, touch, or measure. We've been taught to trust only in what is already here. However, the unseen world, thoughts, ideas, emotions, intentions, is just as real and powerful as the physical world. In fact, everything that exists in our material reality first existed in the realm of the unseen. Every invention, every building, every piece of art, and every achievement was once an invisible idea in someone's mind before it became manifest. One of the key elements of faith in the unseen is the ability to let go of the need for immediate evidence or validation. This is often where people struggle. We live in a society that places immense value on proof, on results that can be measured and quantified. But faith asks us to trust before we see results. It asks us to believe in the existence of something before it has physically appeared in our lives. This is not always easy, especially when faced with circumstances that contradict what we are hoping for. Yet it is precisely in these moments that faith becomes most powerful. Consider the process of planting a seed. When a gardener plants a seed, they do not expect to see a fully grown plant the next day. They understand that the seed must go through an unseen process beneath the soil before it sprouts. The gardener waters the seed, nurtures it, and trusts that in time the plant will grow. There is no doubt, no second guessing, no digging up the seed to see if it's working. The gardener knows that the seed will eventually break through the surface, even though for a time everything happens out of sight. This is a perfect metaphor for faith in the unseen. Faith requires patience, and more than that, it requires persistence. You must continue to believe in your vision, even when nothing in your current reality reflects that belief. This persistence of faith is what moves mountains and creates breakthroughs. It allows you to keep moving forward, to take action, and to stay committed even when external circumstances suggest otherwise. The unseen world is not bound by time or logic in the same way the physical world is, and sometimes the greatest miracles are in progress just beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to emerge. Another critical aspect of faith in the unseen is understanding the role of the subconscious mind. The subconscious operates primarily on feelings and beliefs, not on rational thought. When you hold faith in the unseen, you are essentially programming your subconscious to accept your desired outcome as a fact. Once the subconscious mind believes something to be true, it begins to influence your actions, your decisions, and even the opportunities that come into your life. This is how faith can bring the unseen into the seen. By aligning your inner state with your desired reality, you draw that reality toward you. One of the challenges people face is that they tend to base their faith on what they see around them. If things are going well, they feel hopeful and optimistic. But if they encounter obstacles, they quickly lose faith and start to doubt whether their dreams or desires are possible. True faith, however, is not dependent on external circumstances. It stands firm regardless of what is happening in the physical world. This is why faith in the unseen is so powerful. It allows you to stay anchored to your vision, even when the storms of life seem to blow you off course. Faith is often tested, but it is through these tests that it becomes stronger. Every obstacle is an opportunity to deepen your trust in the unseen. When you continue to believe in your desired outcome, despite the evidence to the contrary, you demonstrate a level of inner conviction that has the power to shape reality. This is the essence of faith, the ability to see with the inner eye, to trust the process, and to know that what is unseen today will become seen tomorrow. Faith in the unseen is not about ignoring reality or pretending that challenges don't exist. It's about recognizing that there is a reality beyond what is immediately visible, a reality that you can access through belief, persistence, and trust. When you cultivate faith in the unseen, you unlock the ability to create a life that transcends the limits of reason, allowing you to manifest dreams and possibilities that once seemed impossible. Inner conviction over external evidence is a principle that speaks to the power of our internal beliefs and their ability to shape our reality, regardless of the circumstances we currently face. In a world where we are constantly bombarded with external information, news, opinions, statistics, and events, it's easy to fall into the trap of believing that what we see outside of us is the ultimate truth. Yet, this principle challenges us to consider a different reality, that what we hold true within ourselves, our inner convictions, can override and transform the external evidence of our lives. To live by inner conviction means to cultivate a belief that is not dependent on what the world shows us. It means to trust in the unseen, to maintain a vision for what we desire, even when everything around us appears to contradict that vision. This is not an act of denial or delusion, but rather a deep and profound act of faith in our own power to create and influence our circumstances. While external evidence may show us lack, failure, or limitation, our inner conviction, when strong enough, can shape the future in ways that defy logic and current reality. The first step in understanding the power of inner conviction is recognizing that the external world is not fixed. While it may seem solid and unchangeable, it is actually in a constant state of flux. Our circumstances, relationships, and opportunities are all shaped by the beliefs and feelings we hold within. The world is a reflection of our inner state, and when we change what we believe to be true within ourselves, the external world must eventually align with that belief. This is why it's so important to maintain inner conviction, even when the evidence around us suggests otherwise. For example, consider someone pursuing a dream or goal that seems impossible based on their current situation. Perhaps they want to start a business, achieve a high level of success, or transform their personal life. The external evidence may not be encouraging. They may not have the resources, connections, or experience that would make their goal seem feasible. However, if that person holds a deep inner conviction, if they truly believe that their dream is possible, and act in alignment with that belief, they can begin to attract the opportunities, people, and circumstances that will make their vision a reality. This process may take time, but inner conviction has the power to shift the course of events. One of the greatest obstacles to living by inner conviction is the temptation to rely on external validation. We often look for signs or proof that what we want is on its way before we fully commit to believing in it. But waiting for external evidence to support our dreams is a backward approach. The external world follows the internal world, not the other way around. If you allow your inner conviction to be shaken by the lack of external proof, you lose the creative power that comes from belief. The most successful and fulfilled people are those who maintain their conviction, even when there is no logical reason to believe that things will work out. This is where the strength of character comes in. It takes courage to believe in something that no one else can see. It takes determination to continue pursuing the vision when the circumstances seem unfavorable. But those who master the art of inner conviction know that the external world is malleable. They understand that circumstances will bend to match their beliefs, not immediately perhaps, but inevitably. The key is to persist in your belief long enough for the external evidence to catch up. Inner conviction also requires a certain level of self-awareness. You must be clear about what you truly believe, not just on the surface, but deep within your subconscious. Often we think we believe in something, but our actions and emotions tell a different story. If you find yourself constantly doubting or feeling anxious about whether your goals will come to pass, it may be a sign that your inner conviction needs strengthening. This is where practices like visualization, affirmation, and meditation can be powerful tools. By regularly reinforcing your belief in your desired outcome, you begin to shift your subconscious mind to align with that belief. Another crucial aspect of inner conviction is its ability to guide action. When you are deeply convinced of something, you naturally take actions that align with that belief. These actions, even if small, accumulate over time and begin to create momentum. For instance, someone who is convinced that they will achieve success in their career will act with confidence, seek out opportunities, and persist in the face of setbacks. Their inner conviction gives them the resilience to keep going, even when external evidence might suggest that they should give up. Over time, this persistence pays off, and the external evidence begins to reflect their inner belief. Inner conviction over external evidence is not about ignoring reality, it's about creating a new reality through the power of belief. The external world is constantly changing, and we have the ability to influence that change through our internal state. When we cultivate a deep, unwavering belief in our goals and desires, we set the stage for transformation. Even in the face of opposing evidence, inner conviction has the power to bend circumstances in our favor. It may not happen overnight, but with persistence, faith, and action, our inner beliefs will eventually shape the world around us. But persistence in the assumption is a principle rooted in the idea that holding a consistent belief or assumption about a desired outcome can ultimately bring that outcome into reality. It suggests that what we assume to be true, if held long enough and with enough conviction, will materialize in our external world. This concept requires a deep understanding of the mind's power to create, shape, and influence the physical reality through sustained focus and belief, even when circumstances and evidence seem to point in the opposite direction. At the core of this idea is the notion that our assumptions shape our experiences. What we persistently assume, whether about ourselves, others, or the world, acts as a filter through which we interpret and respond to life. If we assume success, we begin to think, feel, and act in ways that align with that assumption, setting the stage for success to eventually manifest. On the other hand, if we assume failure or limitation, we create a reality that mirrors those negative beliefs. The key, therefore, is to persist in the assumption that aligns with our desires, even when external circumstances suggest otherwise. This principle is not about wishful thinking or blind optimism. It's about consciously choosing to hold a particular assumption and refusing to waver, no matter what. In life, we are constantly bombarded by external stimuli, challenges, setbacks, and obstacles that can cause us to doubt our goals. But persistence in the assumption requires that we remain steadfast, continuing to believe in the desired outcome, even when faced with evidence to the contrary. It demands that we cultivate unwavering faith in the power of our assumption to create the reality we seek. One of the reasons persistence in the assumption is so powerful is that the mind, when focused, has the ability to influence not only our thoughts and emotions, but also our actions and decisions. When we persist in assuming the fulfillment of a goal, we naturally begin to align our behaviors with that assumption. For example, if someone persists in assuming they will achieve financial success, they are more likely to seek out opportunities, take calculated risks, and maintain the confidence needed to navigate the ups and downs of the financial world. Their assumption creates a mental framework that guides their actions, even when setbacks occur. Over time, this consistency of thought and action leads to the very success they assume. Another key aspect of persistence in the assumption is its relationship to the subconscious mind. The subconscious is highly impressionable and operates largely on the beliefs and assumptions we feed it. By persistently assuming something to be true, we impress that assumption onto the subconscious, which then begins to work behind the scenes to bring the assumption to fruition. The subconscious mind does not differentiate between what is real and what is imagined. It simply responds to the feelings and beliefs we hold consistently. Therefore, when we persist in assuming the fulfillment of our desires, we activate the creative power of the subconscious to manifest those desires in our lives. This persistence often requires patience and resilience. It's easy to hold an assumption when everything is going smoothly, but the real test comes when we encounter challenges. Life will often present situations that seem to contradict our desired outcome. For instance, someone trying to assume health in the face of illness may experience setbacks that shake their faith. However, persistence in the assumption demands that they continue to hold the vision of perfect health, even when their current reality reflects otherwise. This is not denial. It is an act of faith in the creative power of their assumption to ultimately override temporary conditions. The concept of persistence in the assumption also highlights the importance of emotional alignment. It's not enough to merely think about what we want. We must also feel it. Our emotions act as fuel for our assumptions, giving them the energy needed to manifest. When we persist in assuming that we already have what we desire, we must also cultivate the feelings associated with that fulfillment, whether it's joy, gratitude, or relief. This emotional alignment strengthens the assumption and deepens its impact on both our conscious and subconscious mind. Persistence in the assumption builds resilience against doubt. Doubt is the enemy of belief, and it often arises when external circumstances don't seem to align with our desires. When we encounter failure or obstacles, the natural response is to question whether our assumptions are valid. But those who understand the power of persistence know that doubt is merely a temporary hurdle. By refusing to entertain doubt and continuing to assume the desired outcome, we keep our focus on the end result, allowing it to take root and grow, even in the face of adversity. It's important to recognize that persistence does not imply struggle or force. It is not about fighting against what we don't want, but about calmly and consistently holding on to the assumption of what we do want. The more we persist, the more natural the assumption becomes, until it feels like an inevitable part of our reality. This is when the outer world begins to shift to match the inner conviction we have cultivated over time. Persistence in the assumption is a powerful principle that teaches us the value of unwavering belief in the fulfillment of our desires. By consistently holding on to an assumption, regardless of external evidence or temporary setbacks, we engage the creative power of the mind and subconscious to bring that assumption into physical reality. It requires patience, emotional alignment, and resilience. But with persistence, we can shape our experiences and manifest the life we envision. The law of consciousness is a principle that asserts that our state of consciousness, our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions, directly shapes the reality we experience. It is based on the understanding that consciousness is the fundamental cause of all that happens in our lives. What we consistently hold in our minds, whether positive or negative, manifests as the circumstances, events, and conditions in our external world. This law suggests that we are not passive observers of life, but active creators, shaping our experiences through the power of our own awareness. At the heart of the law of consciousness is the idea that we are always creating, whether consciously or unconsciously. Every thought we think, every belief we hold, and every emotion we feel is an act of creation. These mental and emotional states serve as the blueprint for the experiences we attract. When we dwell on thoughts of abundance, love, and health, we begin to align with those states, drawing them into our lives. Conversely, when we focus on lack, fear, or negativity, we create circumstances that reflect those lower states of consciousness. In essence, life mirrors back to us what we hold in our consciousness. This principle can be seen in everyday life. For example, when someone holds a firm belief in their ability to succeed, they often experience opportunities and outcomes that support that belief. Their confident mindset leads them to take actions that are in alignment with success, and as a result, they achieve their goals. On the other hand, a person who harbors a deep belief in failure or unworthiness tends to encounter obstacles and setbacks that confirm their negative expectations. The law of consciousness operates without judgment. It simply reflects the dominant thoughts and feelings we hold, whether we are aware of them or not. One of the most empowering aspects of the law of consciousness is that it places the responsibility for our experiences squarely in our own hands. We are not at the mercy of external circumstances, luck, or fate. Instead, we have the power to change our reality by shifting our consciousness. By becoming aware of the thoughts, beliefs, and emotions that dominate our minds, we can consciously choose to focus on those that align with the outcomes we desire. This shift in consciousness brings about a corresponding change in our external reality as the outer world begins to reflect the new inner state. However, mastering the law of consciousness requires more than just positive thinking. It involves a deep understanding of how our subconscious mind operates. The subconscious mind is the storehouse of our deeply held beliefs and assumptions, many of which were formed during childhood and continue to influence us today. While we may consciously desire success, health, or happiness, if our subconscious mind is filled with limiting beliefs about our worthiness or ability, we will struggle to manifest those desires. This is why it is so important to address and reprogram the subconscious mind to align with our conscious desires. Reprogramming the subconscious mind requires persistence and practice. Techniques such as visualization, affirmation, and meditation can help to impress new beliefs upon the subconscious. By consistently focusing on the feelings and images associated with our desired outcomes, we begin to shift the deep-seated beliefs that shape our reality. Over time, these new beliefs become ingrained in the subconscious, and our external circumstances begin to change in response. Another critical component of the law of consciousness is the role of emotions. Emotions are the fuel that powers our thoughts and beliefs, giving them the energy needed to manifest in our physical reality. It's not enough to simply think about what we want. We must feel it as though it is already ours. When we cultivate the emotions of joy, gratitude, and fulfillment associated with our desires, we accelerate the manifestation process. This emotional alignment brings our consciousness into harmony with the reality we wish to create. The law of consciousness also highlights the importance of focus. What we focus on expands, and where we direct our attention, our energy flows. If we constantly focus on problems, challenges, or the things we do not want, we will inadvertently create more of those experiences. Conversely, when we focus on solutions, opportunities, and the things we do want, we invite those experiences into our lives. This is why it's crucial to guard our minds and be mindful of where we place our attention. By directing our focus toward the outcomes we desire, We shape our consciousness in a way that attracts those outcomes. It's also important to recognize that the law of consciousness operates on a deep, often invisible level. Just as seeds planted in the soil take time to grow and bear fruit, the changes in our consciousness may not yield immediate results in the external world. There is often a gestation period between the time we shift our consciousness and the time we see physical evidence of that shift. This is why patience and persistence are essential when working with the law of consciousness. We must trust that the changes we are making within ourselves will eventually manifest in our lives. The law of consciousness is a powerful principle that teaches us that we are the creators of our own reality. Our thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and focus shape the world we experience. By consciously choosing to cultivate a state of consciousness that aligns with our desires, we can transform our external circumstances and live the life we truly want. This process requires awareness, emotional alignment, and persistence, but with consistent practice, the law of consciousness can bring profound changes to our lives. We are not bound by our current reality. We have the power to create new realities through the power of our own consciousness. Feel it real is a powerful principle based on the understanding that our emotions and feelings play a vital role in shaping the reality we experience. It emphasizes the importance of embodying the emotions associated with our desires as if they were already fulfilled. By doing so, we align ourselves energetically with the reality we wish to create, allowing us to manifest our desires more quickly and effectively. This concept goes beyond mere positive thinking or visualization. It involves deeply engaging with the feelings and emotions tied to the outcome we want to experience, making it feel real in our minds and hearts long before it becomes visible in the physical world. Thank you